I mean, you have to think about the way some of these media outlets are funded, right?
Yes.
And so if they have
right.
pharmaceutical companies paying big bucks to advertise on their networks,
of the advertising budget,
they're not going to like anti-pharmaceutical content
and they also invite you on so they can scream at you.
That's the playbook.
Because
that is the
how
playbook,
they get views.
You're anti-science,
Exactly.
you're a buffoon, you're an idiot.
But does it make sense to live your entire life taking Ozempic to stay thin? Because like the second you get off of it, people gain weight.
Gain it all
right?
back and then some. I mean, that is a longer conversation. We can definitely have it if you want to. And the place that I'm at now, personally, just to throw this out there, since we did open the door, is every drug, in my opinion, every vaccine, every medication should be utilized by a medical professional under the pretense of cost-benefit analysis. Listen, if you had stage 4 cancer and they thought that chemo could save you, we'd be going to get chemo because the alternative is death. If you got a staph infection and it was methicillin-resistant Staph aureus, a flesh-eating friggin' bacteria, I would be taking you to the doctor and having them inject Cipro into every friggin' orifice of your body, but we wouldn't be using it prophylactically.
Exactly.
You know, if you had a cold for a secondary infection, all of it should be, in my opinion, looked at in that capacity under the guidance and the supervision of the proper medical professional. But these drugs are exceptionally expensive for a host of reasons that, you know, again, is another show, but nevertheless, they're $1,000 plus a month. You can never get off of them. They have a suite of pretty significant and serious side effects. And the reason you can't get off of them, as you so appropriately mentioned, is because you gain it all back and then some. And we've seen that in every single meta-analysis. So if somebody is morbidly obese, and they already have heart disease, chronic kidney disease, type 2 diabetes, and all of these different issues, and we've tried everything else, you could twist my arm. But people don't really understand that this is a marriage, not a fling, that there are serious side effects, and you will absolutely experience one of them, that the side effects do, in fact, your risk of a more serious one accumulate over time, which they deny, and that's just not true, especially when you look at studies that are not funded by the drug company. So it's a serious conversation. But you're absolutely right. The narrative is bought off 100%.
Yep.
And it happens to be illegal for Big Pharma to advertise in
Everywhere
every
else,
other country.
except New Zealand.
Except New Zealand.
Except New Zealand. Not in
Except
Australia, though.
New
I
Zealand.
remember when I first visited America. It was back in 2014. I was in Vegas. I was in my hotel room watching TV, and an ad came on, and I thought it was parody. Them talking about all of these great things about their drug, and then they're like, oh, this could lead to like rectal bleeding and cannibalism and death. It's like, wait, are you for real?
You hear those
warnings? Is this
warnings?
a real advertisement right now?
My favorite thing is the juxtaposition of those like warnings
Right.
with the visual of like a couple.
they're frolicking.
You know, they're frolicking.
They always
in the
have a
field.
dog. They always have like a dog next to them in
so
the
much
wilderness.
frolicking
They're
going
so
on every
happy.
time. Yeah.
I have a lot of issues, actually not that many, but I do have some issues with RFK Jr., but he is so right that our country is overly medicated. And I will be the first one to say that birth control destroyed my life. And
I was alone in that. I've heard that a lot.
And you know what? I wasn't even put on birth control for sex. I was put on birth control because I'm going to be open with this. I've struggled with anorexia for much of my life, and they thought that would jumpstart my period because I have amenorrhea. And so I was on birth control 5 years, and I had tremendous bouts of anxiety, and I never had anxiety before. And one day I decided in 2023, I'm like, I've had enough. I'm taking back my life. I'm reclaiming my own power. I refuse to be at the mercy of these bouts of anxiety that are taking over my life.
Good for you.
And after I did that, I'm now I feel like a new woman. I know that's a cliche, but I feel like totally in control of myself, of my own destiny. And it just breaks my heart to see our country so medicated, so straitjacketed by all of these prescription drugs. Like at the tiniest problem, we throw an SSRI. At the tiniest problem, we throw Ozempic. That is just too much.
Or puberty blockers, gender-affirming care.
Exactly.
The goal is to create lifelong medical patients because that is passive residual income for them every week, every month till the end of that person's life.
There is
That's what the goal is.
Jillian, as you have mentioned previously, looking at the nuance when these guys discover some incredible new drug that can help a stroke patient. I mean, we can't throw the baby out with the bathwater. And the reality is that there are certain instances where the birth control pill might have helped somebody at risk for certain cancers.
100%.
So this is why it's got to be a case-by-case basis with a medical professional.
Agreed.
Looking at
Yeah.
how your body is responding to the medication. All of this, it's nuanced, but the system is designed to make you sick and profiteer off it from cradle to grave.
Final
It is.
thing I'll say about the pharmaceutical industry, you know, right now the Trump administration is looking for ways to cut waste, fraud, and abuse. One of the easiest ways to save American taxpayers a lot of money is to allow our Medicare system to negotiate drug prices.
Amen to that.
It is absurd that they're allowed to price gouge American
You know why that is,
taxpayers.
though?
Well, yeah, why is that?
Okay.
Right?
No.
Well, campaign contributions.
There's one person who can elaborate on this better than anyone in the space. His name is Brigham Bueller. He's got a company called Ways to Well, in case anybody wants to check him out. He's absolutely brilliant. And this has to do with a middleman, or not a middle, the middleman called pharmacy benefit managers.
Correct, yeah.
And so the long story short here is that these guys were designated to negotiate on our behalf many moons ago. I can't remember when this began, but at its inception, it was well intended. What happened
It got corrupted.
is that the insurance companies bought the pharmacy benefit managers.
Yeah.
So now it's like Optum is United Healthcare, or Prime Therapeutics is Blue Cross Blue Shield. So if Prime Therapeutics is the PBM, the pharmacy benefit manager, they're now owned by big insurance. Same thing with Optum, United Healthcare. They are owned now and not working on behalf of you, but working on behalf of the drug company.
That's very true. They have been corrupted. They're now incentivized to negotiate for higher prices because they get a cut.
That's it.
So
they get a
it's
rebate.
so sick.
They
Yeah,
get a
you're right.
rebate that you don't know about. So what ends up happening is they then go to the drug companies like Novo Nordisk and say, no, don't charge us $400 for Ozempic. That's what you're charging in Germany or Canada. No, charge us $1,200.
Yep.
So then what happens is your copay ends up being more than the cost of the drug, and they make money off of these kickbacks, and that's really the deep, dark, dirty secret of what's going on here. Thank you so much for watching Her Take. If you like the show, can you help us out by subscribing to the channel, clicking the notification button, sharing, commenting, joining the conversation? It helps us out a ton with the algorithm. We appreciate you.